Hi everybody, Martin here. Welcome to Turner's Journey episode 11. It's great to have you with me again this week. Thank you for all of your comments on the walnut lidded box with the ebony finial video that I posted at the beginning of the week. The feedback's been great. Some of you, well most of you have liked it, others haven't been quite so sure, especially about the colouring. And as you heard me say in the video, I wasn't sure if I should be, but it has actually turned out really well. A couple of people asked about the strength of the ebony finial. Well, ebony's a pretty tough wood anyway. It barely wobbles. But if you're using a weaker wood, then perhaps you could try soaking in thin CA glue just to give it a little bit of support and a little bit of extra strength before you finish it. Maybe sand it down to 320, then soak in the CA, and then finish the sanding with 400, and then use your favourite finish over the top. A couple of other people asked about the coloured stain that I used, and I used this one, which is Bulger's Light Fast Wood Stain in Rosewood. I got it off of eBay. They're a UK based company, and I don't think they ship abroad, unfortunately, but I'm sure you can find a similar product where you are. It's a spirit stain, so it's alcohol based, and it dries pretty quickly, and as you saw, the colour's gorgeous. Episode 10 last week, Turner's Journey episode 10. Thanks very much for all of your comments on that, and your support for Hampshire Sheen has been brilliant. The company has now been formed, so I am now a company director, terribly posh. It's just me, and I make Hampshire Sheen on the bench behind me. But it is definitely a good idea to separate it from me now, so it becomes a completely separate entity. The website's there, which is awesome. Well, I think it's awesome. There's a promo video out on YouTube, as well as banner ads and stuff like that. It should be appearing all over the place soon, I hope. Anyway, have a look at the advert if you haven't. Oh yeah, and there's a YouTube channel too, which I'll post a link to down below, where I'll be posting videos about how to use Hampshire Sheen on, say, bowls, platters, pens, objet d'art, that kind of thing, over time, so people can have a sort of an online book of instructions, as it were, because having had a play with it, you can actually build it up in layers, so you get the traditional Hampshire Sheen, which is the really nice finish, but then you can actually build it up, I've noticed, into a nice sort of high gloss. So yeah. Right, cherry bowl time. Cherry bowl, still holding fast, which is good. Last week it weighed 1,507 grams. This week it's only lost 8, which is really disappointing. So 1,499 grams, which is a little bit disappointing, but the weather is turning, so there's more moisture in the air, so it's just going to take a little bit of time. This week I posted pictures of this little cherry bowl. It was wet when I turned it, so it wobbles a bit now as it's been drying out through the week. Really lovely figure in the wood, sort of almost like tiger stripes around here, but it's come up really nicely. I don't mind that it's warped a little bit, because I can just sand back this bit so it's flat and it sits flat, and then it'll be a nice little sort of novelty bowl kind of thing. Really nice. And I also if you're on Woodchuckers, you would have seen pictures of a piece that I'm calling Aztec Angst, which is this piece. And this piece of wood caused me all manner of problems, but you'll see when I post a video on Tuesday about that. But I absolutely butchered it. Look, I butchered it with a Dremel. I took the blowtorch to it, and the airbrush and gold gilt, and I let go at it really purely just to kind of release some anger. But anyway, you'll see all about that in the video on Tuesday. But it's actually come out really quite nicely. I'm rather pleased. Now, coming on to the discussion point for this episode, which is workshop safety. Now, luckily enough, touch wood, I haven't had too many accidents in the workshop using the lathe or any other tool, thankfully, because I'm careful. The last accident I had, or the last accident I had, I was turning the sister piece to this Spalted Beech platter. As you can see, it's fairly thick, and it's I think it's 13 inches wide. Now, I was turning this piece, and I was making a cut along the bottom to start forming the foot. So I was stood slightly off to one side, and the top third of the piece came off and hit me on the arm, and it really hurt. It drew blood through a fleece and base layer and t-shirt and stuff. It actually drew blood, so it was really quite scary. And the bottom third of the piece was still attached to the lathe, and I don't have my lathes screwed to the floor, so the lathe was bouncing across the floor trying to catch me as I was realising what was going on. So I've been very careful, always careful, and I think everybody should be always careful with how they turn their pieces, and not stand in the firing line when turning anything. A little bit difficult when you're turning spindles, admittedly, but you know, there are certain things you can do. Sam Angelo, the Wyoming woodturner, has a superb video that he posted recently about workshop safety, so I recommend you have a look at that. I'll post the link in the description. Now, yesterday I was rough turning Christmas trees, like this one. This one's cherry, but most of them are some of the wood that I got a few months ago that's all stacked up outside, which is Lawson's cypress, or as it's known in places in the States as Port Orford cedar. Yeah. And I was turning this bit. Now, bear in mind, this wood is still wet, so this is really heavy. This is about 13 inches long, 4 inches across, and I was turning it, and I was wearing my face shield. Down, obviously, and I got a catch just here, and it was in the lathe, and it was tightened down everywhere. I always make sure I put a decent amount of pressure on piece or spindles that I'm turning and stuff. And I got a catch that you can see just there on the knot, and this end was at the tailstock, and it ripped the wood out of the tailstock. Look, you can see where it's been ripped out there, and it caught me square in the face. Let me just sort this out a minute to how I normally wear it. So it was down like that, and it came off the lathe and caught me square in the face, right there. And it hurt. My God, did it hurt. The piece ended up on the floor. Obviously the lathe was running, there was claret pouring everywhere, and I obviously had to take a bit of time out because I was quite shocked. And as you can see, it's cut the bridge of my nose, and today, the day after, it's still quite swollen and very tender, but thankfully it's not broken. So I posted, of course, I posted a selfie on Facebook, and if you haven't joined Woodchuckers, then Woodchuckers on Facebook, then maybe you should possibly think about it. It's a great place. And also on my own Facebook page. Again, I'll post a link to it down there if you want to follow me on Facebook. Yeah, so I posted a selfie. Ow. And the support I got from the guys on Woodchuckers and my Facebook page and my personal profile as well has been really great. So thank you very much, everybody, for your concern. I am fine. But that led on to a further discussion about workshop safety on woodchuckers, and what a few of the guys and girls said is that rather than using these somewhat flimsy face shields, they're better than nothing, but they're not particularly good at properly protecting your face. So a few of the people on woodchuckers were suggesting that they now use ex-police riot helmets. Now that might sound a little bit extreme, but when you've got a piece of wood turning at several hundred revolutions per minute and it flies off and hits you in the face, I don't really care how big that helmet is or whatever over my face, so long as it stops a piece of wood spoiling my boyish good looks. And the same with anybody. I think, you know, you've got to really take your safety in the workshop really seriously. I see people demonstrating and turning without any kind of protection on at all, or even just a pair of safety glasses. Yeah, fine, safety glasses are going to help prevent you having stuff flying in your eyes, and safety glasses will generally be okay, I think, generally be okay for pen turning, so long as you're careful, unless of course the pen's acrylic, and then you want anyway, that's another big long discussion somewhere. But just take your workshop safety incredibly seriously. Accidents do happen. Thankfully, touch wood, in my workshop they don't happen very often. And then, just going back to this piece, after I posted a picture of it on my blog and also my my M. Sabin Smith Facebook page, a lady contacted me via private message and said that I was lucky and that her husband was killed working on his lathe when a piece of, I think it was a bowl, came off and went through his chest. And that also got me thinking, why isn't there anything available for turners to wear on their bodies? Yes, we can protect our faces, but what about our bodies? Especially if tops of bowls come flying off or spindles come flying off and they hit you here. This lady said that her husband was killed when a piece came through his chest. Incredibly rare, I would like to think, but some body protection, perhaps like the body armour that horse riders wear, would be a good thing, rather than a full-on Kevlar bodysuit. Just a plate that we could wear, even built into a smock perhaps, just something really tough that still allowed movement but just protected this kind of area. So that's something I need to have a look into, because that piece caught me here, and if I'd been standing 8 inches to my left, then it would have hit me square on the chest and it would have been a lot worse than just a cut on the arm. So yeah, please do take your workshop safety incredibly seriously. I don't want to see anybody getting seriously hurt turning wood. And you must make sure, of course, that you read and understand all of your manufacturer's guidelines and everything else like that, and you use your tools sensibly. You keep your fingers away, you keep sleeves away, and all that kind of thing. So please be careful when turning wood. What else was there? Oh yeah, also this week, in preparation for demonstrations and stuff, incidentally, Axminster have booked me for a second day of wood turning, which will be on the 22nd of November, which is a Sunday. So I'll be demonstrating at Axminster Tools and Machinery on the 21st and 22nd of November. But I asked my incredibly talented mum if she could embroider me some patches to go on my turning smocks. So here's one. Here's the white smock with my name on it. As when I've seen turning demonstrations and stuff, and when I went to visit the Forest of Beer wood turners a few weeks ago, I noticed that the guys had their names and stuff written on their smocks, so I thought that's a nice idea. So there's this one. I've got another patch on the blue smock that I wear, but that's covered in blood at the moment, so that needs a wash. So yeah, that's quite a nice little touch, I think. It all adds to the professional kind of air that I hope I exude in this series and my other videos and stuff like that. Now, next week, big news next week. I am very, very pleased to say that next week, the one and only, the master of goblets and beginners series of wood turning videos, Mr. Mike Waldt, is coming to the workshop for a visit next Thursday, and we're going to make a little video together. I don't know what it's going to include yet. It might include some turning, but I think there's bound to be some chat, obviously, about wood turning and wood and stuff like that. So I'm really, really looking forward to meeting Mike. It's the first time that we would have met. We've spoken on the phone a few times, but next week he's actually coming to the workshop, so I need to have a bit of a tidy up and a bit of a sweep and lay out the red carpet for the guy who essentially taught me to turn. He's coming to visit, so that's going to be fabulous. And just looking around, is there anything I've forgotten? No. That's it for this week, folks. Thank you very much indeed for joining me. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you don't think I was teaching you to suck eggs with my safety talk, but yesterday's incident really did kind of shock me a little bit. Even though I take my safety seriously, it did actually shock me a little bit. And we're not invincible people. We are, although we may be fairly strong, we're actually pretty weak when it comes to bits of wood banging us in the face at however fast it hit me. So yeah, thank you very much indeed for watching. I'll look forward to seeing you next week for Turner's Journey episode 12 and the chat with Mike Waldt, which is going to be great. And I'll see you on Tuesday for the video of Aztec Angst. This is what I called the piece, Aztec Angst. Thanks very much. I'll see you soon. Bye for now.